theory that men and women are equal, I think tonight's conversation is going to be hot and spicy as usual, because everybody's going to have their own opinion. You know, some people are going to say, well, we're going to base things on different, you know, upbringing, number one, right? If you were raised in a family where everybody's equal, then, you know, you might feel a certain way. But if you were raised in an environment where the boys will have, you know, all the good food and then the girls will be cleaning the rooms, that's a whole different ball game. But also, if you look at it in regards to cultural, you know, in the country and different things, you know, priorities that men have versus women. And at the same token, we have to, we cannot avoid the fact that things have changed. And women now are taking, you know, leadership roles and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be interesting to hear everybody's view tonight, because even when I saw the topic, I was like, wow, this is going to be hot. Because I know we had a previous topic that I posted last week. And when I saw this, I'm like, that's it. I'm going to change this thing. So tonight we can really dive into this. So, so yeah, let's see how we're going to address this. And I'm asking everybody to please, you know, not just share, but also participate. Give us your feedback. Tell us what you're thinking. You know, how does this topic resonate with you? What do you think? And what is it that you would want to do differently? If you think that it's okay, and then give us some why, because, you know, and I'll definitely read them and you know, and of course, mention the name of whoever it is wrote them. So yeah, I'm excited about tonight, and welcome everyone. And go ahead, do your thing.
Yes, so welcome, guys. Today's the last day of May already. So just about halfway through the year. So yeah, this is our opinion. Just I'm gonna get straight to it. So if you have kids, you may want to be mindful of whether you want them to be around. Again, you know, our show is unique. So we how can I put it? We're straight and direct and raw.
Yes.
So I think that's what
raw it is. Always raw.
Yeah. So which is great. You know, it's always good to know where people stand and stuff like that. So again, our opinion, and we want to hear yours. So please participate. All right. So, all righty.
But before we start, let me acknowledge we have, you know, some fans who are here every single week who support, you know, what we do. Let me acknowledge them. Lisbeth, it's so nice to see you, but we also have an OMD person who is watching tonight. And, you know, once you are OMD, you're always going to be OMD. So Miss Vanya, it's so nice to see you. So nice to see you. And please share. And we're going to dive straight into it, right, Miss Scott?
Yes, we are. I think we are. So I don't know who wants to go ahead and start. Since Mandy had already, I see he has he, him, and his, but I don't see her, she.
Because I do not identify as her.
Oh, so this is what you identify with. Okay, I stand corrected.
You know, that's so funny. You are the second man. I noticed that you have that, but I didn't understand. I never asked you why. I don't know why I never asked you. But
I just noticed it.
I know that Kat, I guess, especially because we're talking about men and women, so it does come
Yeah.
and more.
Yeah.
You know, my husband does that. And when I ask him why he does that, he says he's neither or, he's a human. So what's your excuse?
Because I know there's people identify that there are people out there who identify differently than just being male or female.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a topic that we definitely need to talk about before we end the show.
It's actually part of your conversation tonight.
Okay, well, let's dive straight into it. So go ahead, Manzi. What do you think about the topic?
Well, I guess the question I wanted to ask you is that, in your mind, do you consider sex and gender as if they are the same thing, right? When we talk about sex or we talk about gender, are we talking about the same thing?
I mean, I think that for me personally, I mean, now that so many things have come into that, like the person's gender, how they identify themselves, you know, how they see themselves. as opposed to how they were born, right?
Mhm.
So you were born a female, therefore you are going to, your sex, your sex is gonna be a vagina, right? And vice versa if you're a man, so it's gonna be a penis.
Mhm.
However, it's how you see yourself. And that is what I think you're asking, right? Do you identify more as a man if you were born a female,
Correct.
and vice versa? So
Correct.
because of the how we have advanced, I guess, in this world, you have a choice.
Well, no, I think for me it goes beyond biology, right? Gender is I think what they call a social and cultural construct, and so it is based on behavior, expectation, identity, and so on and so forth. So all that um, encompass what when we talk about a gender. That's what we mean today
Mhm.
in our society. So when I read the topic, I was like, oh, that's interesting. But I understand that we wanted to focus um, on a male and female relationship.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think that would not to go too much into personal lives. I think because of what we do, it will be easier, but definitely does not prevent us from, bringing some ideas and just throw something out there.
And then the one day perhaps we can even bring an expert into the field from that perspective who can come and kind
Mhm.
of talk to us a little bit more
Yeah,
about that. Because there is a spectrum. I mean, you and I, we sit there with people that are different from us every single day, right?
Mhm.
We meet people who are non-binary, we meet people who are transgender or gender queer. And so we can't say to them, oh well, we don't work with transgender. We don't work with non-binary. So we have to open our practice to everyone.
definitely. Well, see, that's the thing. And I think when we talk about gender, in this topic, I really was in my mind when I saw the topic, I really was thinking about, relationships. But I
Mhm.
think you have taken it, to a different level that a lot of people are probably, feeling the same way, Monday, because there's so many people that look like someone, but who do not identify as that person.
Mhm.
And then that creates a problem in society because we tend to see people for whoever we think they are versus asking them who are you a man or a female? Who do you identify with?
Mhm.
Instead of us giving them a label. And I think, especially right now, with so many things going on, I mean, not to go, I don't do politics, or religion, but, just to mention quickly with what's going on in Florida, where, um, this man is asking people, like if your kids is gay, you don't talk about this. You know what I mean? So, and the reason that stays with me is because what's the name of the basketball player that married this girl and then they were in
From
Florida?
Miami Heat.
Miami Heat, yes, I forgot his
Yes.
name. Yeah. Anyway,
Uh,
so I watched one of his interviews and he was saying that one of the reasons that made him, move from Miami to LA was because he was afraid that his child may not be accepted. I think it's a hard place to be as a parent when you have a kid and then you feel that, okay, the government does not have a world for my child, you know? How does my child? Go ahead, Kat.
Huh?
No, go ahead. I thought you were gonna say something.
No, go ahead and finish it.
Yeah. So basically, I feel that there are so many people who are dealing with these types of problems but cannot talk about it. So we can definitely, mention it and acknowledge because I think we do judge people a lot. It's part of our human, traits, characteristic to look at someone and identify them for someone that we think they should be, not for who they are. We don't ask people what, unless you file, you come, filling a document or something, and then they'll ask you what sex you are. But otherwise, if you meet someone, you look at them and then you define them just by looking at them. Okay, well, you look like a man, then therefore you're a man. You look like a woman, therefore you're a woman. And then expect them to behave as though what we say is the truth. So this topic can go anywhere. I mean, we can really take it to places where, you know, for people to actually ask yourself that question, you know.
I mean, I think that especially as you guys have mentioned already, this time where we are in our lives, there's so many LGB, so many initials behind that I mean, quite honestly, you know, sometimes you don't know what is the proper terminology you should be using. Because I, especially, you know, in my field, sometimes I don't assume, you know, if a person, sometimes you say he and then it's a she.
Yeah.
So you really have to ask. How
And that's
do you
the key.
identify?
Yeah.
And you really, I'm sorry, do you want me to call you, are you a female, a male? How do you want to be addressed? So that's where we are in this world right now. Yes, I mean, even when you go into a simple thing as the bathroom now, it's labeled in a certain way, because it's so political. And I think, you know, we try to be respectful of the person's choice as to who they identify as at the end of the day. But we all have our opinions, and again, it is your opinion. So sometimes you have to learn to keep that yourself and respect what the person identify as. So, I mean, I'm not here to judge anybody. And as they say, if you like it, I love it.
Yeah.
You know, but moving away from that particular part of it, as far as relationship wise and just in general, I think we do understand that we are equal. We are all equal to a certain degree. Let's not joke about that. We are all equal because we're functioned the same way. We all function the same way physically. We all the you know, makeup, except, you know, like we're saying, sex wise. But other than that, everybody put their hands on the same way. If you need to use the bathroom, when you got to do number 2, we all sit down. So there are things that we're equal in, but it is, I think there are strengths that identify us differently. You know, some, you find women that are stronger than men. You find men that are stronger than women. Physically, we are told that men are stronger than women. As true as that may be, but you can find a woman that is physically stronger than a woman. So I think, again, a lot of that, for me, it comes down to respect also. You can combine respect into it, because I have to respect how you see certain things. I have to respect how you handle certain things. So at the end of the day, we are equal, but we all have our strengths and weaknesses. As human beings, we're equal. We function as far as what we understand as the normalcy of things. We sleep, we eat, we do everything, no matter who we are, man or woman. But then there are other things that separates us. That's just how I see it. And in a relationship, you put respect into it. You know what I mean? So that's a different way of looking at it as well.
Thank you. Kat, give me 1 second. Let me acknowledge some people here. Good evening, Vanya. I see you. Elsie, it's so nice to see you. Good evening, guys. So, Rajan, I miss you guys. I mean, some of you I haven't seen in a while. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, Miss Fifi, you are amazing. And I noticed that you're sharing. Thank you so much. And everyone else who's watching, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for sharing your time with us. I hope tonight's topic force you to take a moment and ask yourself, are we equal, men and women? Although we look different, and although, you know, in regards to our mental state, we function differently. but are we the same? And why, if we are the same, then why are things so different when you talk about men and women? Because it sounds different when you talk about men, you automatically assume, right, that this person has this physical strength, and and this is somebody who's gonna save you. And we know the old stories where the man is supposed to earn the bread, right, Monday? The man is supposed to be the one taking care of the family, but we're in a whole different time.
Well,
Yeah.
I am from the old school, and by that I mean, my I think it was my mom. She used to say, the more things change, the more they remain the same.
Yeah.
But that is, yes, we have changed as a society
Mhm.
where, and I can't say across the board that women are making more or as much money as men, because we know that's not true.
Mhm.
But we do know that um, things are not the way it used to be back in my parents' day, for example, right? Where in the two-people household, two parents household, it was mainly the male who goes out as the provider, who take care of his family, and the woman, end quote, stays at home, bear children, take care of the house, and so on and so forth. Things have changed, but just because they change doesn't necessarily mean that I don't even the title kind of threw me off a little bit. Are we equal? Um, Equality as human beings, yes, that I will always fight for that. In fact, when I mentioned the LGBTQ, that's what I was referring to, because at the end of the day, if we're going to talk about equality for the human race, we can't separate this from that. We have to
Yeah,
say, okay, everyone,
definitely.
everyone, no matter who you are, we all start at equal footing, or we all want to be treated with love, with dignity, with respect in the same way. In that sense, I would say, yes, we are equal as a human race. Our roles are different, however. There are things, even now, when you talk about men and women, even now, as you listen to men and women talk about their roles, things that they want to do, you can see a distinction, right? Automatically, if there's a flat tire, if there are five people in the car, right, and one of them happened to be a man, I promise you, 4 out of 5 will think, okay, he's gonna take care of it, right? It's a bias that we have, right? It's
Yeah.
something that was taught somewhere along the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
You were taught that, okay, that's a man's responsibility, right?
Yeah.
In the same way, if my son goes out and is on a bike and he falls and scrape his knee, he wants home. He doesn't want home to dad, so dad can put a band-aid on it. Because me, I'm gonna say, suck it up, you'll be fine, right? Get back out there, right? But mom would be more like, oh, leave him alone. Oh, let me see. Let's put a little band-aid on it. Let me kiss your
Yes.
boo and all that. We do play different roles. And I think that's what makes the human race so beautiful, right?
Yes.
Is the fact that we complement each other. I think one of the problems that I have is when we notice there are couples who refuse to complement one another.
Mm.
Right? They are fighting for authority. They are fighting for autonomy. They are fighting for leadership. And I said, let's take a moment to really look at the dynamic of your relationship. There are times you're gonna take this position, but there are times she's gonna do it, right?
Yeah.
It's just a matter of determining what works for us, right? What works for us. If this works for us, let it happen, right? So that's the way I feel about this. Whenever we mention or we start talking about gender equality, it's like, yeah, we are equal as human beings, but in everything else, we complement each other. There are roles that are defined. There are things that a woman can do so much better than a man. Having said that, there's the same thing that I just say can be the opposite, right? You can find a hairdresser who's a man who can give you a begging hairdo just like a woman, right? Because that's an artistic skill,
Mhm.
right? So it's like, okay, what do we do with all that? So this is where I am right now. Kat is laughing.
No, because everything we just talked about,
Mhm.
you just created a big hole
Yes, I did.
and it just sunk it right up. It just sucked it. It just sucked it up because everything we just talked about as who you identify and how you want to be a
Yep.
man that's a woman that's a man. I mean, you know, I mean, you created these things. We created these things where people are confused.
Yeah.
Don't come for me. I'm not saying that it's confusion if you are a man and you identify as a woman. I'm just saying that the where we are right now, that a lot of people, you know, when you have kids, unfortunately, that are growing up and they see a woman that might look like a man, yeah, they're gonna feel like mommy woo or daddy woo. So there's gonna be questions asked. Again, I'm trying to stay away from that because I'm not here to pass judgment, but it is something that, you know, we come across because it's kind of like coming to be a norm kind of thing because you see it so much. But to go back to what you were saying, Andy, about being equal, yes, we are, and then it's a matter of role playing because this is how the world was. I mean, whether we want to admit to it or not, you know, people can sit here and say Adam and Eve, Adam and Steve, whatever. But if you are supposed to be a Bible fearing person, it is said that God created a man and a woman. So then it's like you expect certain things. It's just what it is. But we deal with everything else in between, right? We learn to accept it, and it's okay. Like I don't have a problem with anything. But at the end of the day, in a relationship, if I'm with a man, I do expect you to be a certain way. Just like he expect me to be a certain way. I know we're going away from this. The woman is the one that's supposed to be doing the cooking and all this and that. But like you were just saying, if you going somewhere and then you just expect, oh, did she cook this? You're not going to say, did he cook it first? Usually you're going to be like, oh, your wife is a great cook. No, it was my man that did it. It wasn't me. So it's role playing. We're placing bricks and stuff to make it work now, as opposed to just going with what supposedly was the norm.
I agree. I agree with everything that you guys said. At the same token, as you guys were talking, and I'm you know, processing everything that I'm hearing, and I realized that as equal as we say we are, I think we are very different. For the simple fact is that we don't do things the same way. We want to be equal because we want to have the same rights, right? Let's say you're in a relationship with someone. You wanna say, okay, well, if I'm working and I'm paying bills, you need to help me with this. If I'm doing this, you need to help me with that. If I'm cleaning in the house, you need to help me. So we want that. When we say equal, I think when it comes to relationship, we want that equality in relationship. We want that partner to feel that, okay, I'm not the only one investing in this relationship, whether it's the only one showing you love or whether it's the only one you know, spending in the relationship. Because oftentimes you have a man and a woman, things don't need to be said. Things are just fall into place. The man comes in based on how he was raised, right? And remember, most of those men were raised by us women. So if this man was raised in a household where, you know, mom was the head of the household and mom was responsible to do certain things, and or if he had mom and dad, he sees what dad did. So most likely he's going to copy what dad did in his own household. If his dad was someone who was responsible, who, you know, came home and knew he's supposed to pay the bills, he probably become someone like his dad. But at the same token, what if this man was raised by a woman? And then now you marry this man, he's not used to have a male figure to tell him what a man is supposed to be like. How do we handle this? Because this, I think this is, to me, one of the biggest problems, because, and that's why as a coach, these are the challenges that people have in relationships. Because we set expectation on our partners based on the way we were raised. Go ahead, Kat, you're on mute.
That is true to a certain degree. Again, I think now that we're in such a different space in where how we're living our lives, that yes, you know, how you were raised does affect how you see some things and stuff like that. Again, I think one of the things I've picked up on a lot is adjustment. We're adjusting. We're adjusting in so many different ways. We're learning to not expect. It's so funny. I saw a post yesterday, or today rather, that's a Facebook friend of mine posted, where it was a romantic dinner posted with candlelights and everything, flowers. And then he said, I wonder how many women nowadays would appreciate something like that.
Mm.
And I thought, interesting. But, and then somebody asked him why. He was like, I don't know. I think I would have a hard time dating if I wasn't married, because most women now, they don't really appreciate things like that anymore. And everybody's like into the fasting, and they're not really understanding the person took the time to prepare this meal. You know, they have the whole candlelight thing going on. And then a lot of them is like, why'd you do all that for? Like, what was the reason? What, you trying to get some booty or something? So, I mean, I'm just saying.
Of course, Miss Cat.
I'm just saying, some people may not just appreciate a man just showing you respect and appreciation and doing that.
You come home and then everything is set up, candlelight. Yeah.
No, this is a man courting a woman. Like, this is them courting you, showing you respect, showing you, hey.
How old is that man?
Huh?
How old is the man?
Oh, no. This is a post he posted. Like, I guess he saw the picture and then he posted it. And then that was the caption he wrote. He's married, and this is a man that's married with kids. And he was just basically saying he would have a hard time because he doesn't think. And I never really thought about that. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wow, did we really go that far away as women?
I will say, if romance is dead, and I know I gotta be careful how I put this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. If romance is dead, you need to blame the woman for that.
If the romance is dead in the relationship, you need to blame the woman.
No, in general, I think in general.
Yeah.
Because most women are trying to be so equal to a man that we've lost our femininity, right? So we want to be the breadwinner. We want to bear kids. We want to do this. We want to have this. That sometimes, again, it comes back to this, where we forget that we need to be a woman. We just sometimes need to remember, like you were saying, how it was in the beginning. Let's go back. Let's take a few steps back. Let the man be a man. Let the man lead, if he is leading you the right way. Be the woman that you are. Sometimes show that you are, a woman. And I think what I'm going to say is going to get something. And I don't care. Y'all can come for me because I'm going to answer y'all back. At the end of the day, a woman, we all have our place. And that's just what it is. It doesn't mean there's a bad connotation to it. There's nothing wrong with being a woman and being soft and also turning it up and doing what you got to do, stepping it up and being the leader, being that strong woman. But you still remember, a man is always going to love a woman that knows. Let me step back and let me watch this man at work. We don't want we don't want a man that can't. No, we don't want that. We want you to be a man. We want you to take the bull
See, I
by
think
the horn.
sometimes I think the confusion is, let me put it this way. As a man is looking for the female version of himself,
Mhm.
not necessarily a male version of himself.
True.
He wants to hang around with other males. He hang around with other males. But what he's looking for is the female version for himself. You mentioned allowing the man to lead, allowing the man to do what we used to call courtship, to chase you, right? To do
that.
the romantic stuff. Because I don't know, but for me, well, let me talk about my own relationship. It's still, listen, it works. It works when you can soften the heart of a woman, and you say sweet little nothing to her ears, and make the person feel valued and cherish them, and purchase things for them, and do the romantic stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. And so for women nowadays to say, "Ah, I don't need this, I don't care for that," that's it's ridiculous to me. It's just ridiculous.
I agree. I agree with you. I am totally old fashioned. I want the man to be the man in the house, and I want to be the woman in the house. And I have no problem not having to pay any bills. And I want a man who can provide. I have no problem with that. If you think just because I am a woman and in this age of time and everybody's working and stuff, you're not you don't want to abuse anyone. You're in a relationship, you know how much money the other person makes. And if it's not enough, then of course everybody take a responsibility for something. You pay this and I pay that. At the same token, I am totally old-fashioned when it comes to relationships. I totally believe that the man is the head of the household. I do believe that. I know that a lot of people may disagree with me. But I also believe at the same token, while he's the head of the household, I am the one that actually run the household. So the head of the house, huh?
You're the backbone of at the
Yes,
end of the
I
day,
am.
yeah.
Because he doesn't do anything without me anyway. But when we can meet each other halfway, where he doesn't do anything without me, or me nothing without him, that makes us whole. And I think that's what's missing these days, because a lot of strong women, we have all these degrees, we're making like six figures. And then, if you're with a man who makes less than you, sometimes you feel like you're more superior than this man. Or even that man can feel like he is inferior. You don't need to give it to him. Just the idea that he's not making enough money, because the way that we raise men, he's supposed to be the head of household. That's how we raise men. So what is it that we need to do differently so people don't feel that, oh my gosh, this is what it's supposed to be like and I'm failing. So I think this topic bring more questions than answers, because because we really have to understand the fact that men and women, are they the same? And I heard, who was it that is the same? Monday, you said they're the same, right? Okay. Okay. Well, if you ask me, I'll say they're not the same.
We talk about how they're the same. Human race, right? We're all the same.
In human race, definitely.
We're all the same. But then we have different roles.
That's the thing.
We all have different role that we do. We role play. So like you were saying, so we can complement each other.
Yeah.
This is why, what is it? Yang and what's the word I'm looking for? Yang and
Yeah.
exactly. So we're looking for that balance, right? So it's a constant fight. And I think that's why sometimes it's funny, because I had this conversation at work Saturday where this one lady said she will not date a man that makes less money than she.
That's the problem. You see, that's what I mean.
And I told her, unfortunately, a lot of women are saying that. And a lot of these women, they need those other women to come in and support their system. Not to say there's nothing wrong with having the standards. There's nothing wrong with having standards. But at the end of the day, I do think that it's more, it's not just finance, right? We're not looking for just somebody for what they can do for. It's
Yeah.
a package, just like anybody else. You're looking at a package. So if that's the first thing that attracts you, that's fine. But there's got to be more to it than the fact that this person is making more money than you. What else can they bring to the table? I mean,
Yeah.
why would, if that's the case, why do we have people that are making money and they're not staying together? And
Because we hear stories about lots of rich people, and then
it's not
eventually
about
they walk
the
away.
money. It's
Yeah.
not about the money. Sometimes when you have two powerful people, and we've had this conversation before, and sometimes you don't know when to let go and be, listen, I'm your woman. You're my man. We're not fighting for power here. And I think that's a lot of things people are missing. When I'm with whoever I'm with, and I'm not looking to, I'm on the same side as you. Don't fight me. We're not supposed to be fighting each other. We're supposed to be complimenting each other so we can grow. So I think that's a problem that a lot of women and men are having nowadays, we're raising a lot of boys and we're raising a lot of girls, and they don't know how to be women and they don't know how to be men.
Unfortunately. Let's take a second. Man, no, I'll just take a second to welcome Man. Thank you for joining us.
Evening, everybody.
What's up, bro?
What's up, brother?
Well, I don't know if you saw the topic tonight.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I would say this. I know it's never late, but I would say this. In society, we're not equal.
Mhm.
I'll be honest. In society, we're not, because we have this stigma where, okay, I'll ask this question: who cuts the grass?
Right.
It depends, though. It depends. I've seen women cutting the grass.
No,
It
but
depends.
let's be honest. Who cuts the grass?
You usually your husband. It's like the same thing.
Yeah.
Your husband take out the trash.
Yes.
I don't take out the trash. My men.
Wait a minute. If
See
you
what I'm
ask that,
saying?
I'm gonna ask you who carried the child.
We can't. You guys came from our ribs.
Okay, then.
Come on, man. Come on.
Come on, that's a different.
So,
That's a
like, if you ask
whole
that
different-
question, then I need to say, give me back my rib.
What was that, Monday? I'm sorry. Monday, say it again. I didn't hear you. What happened to your rib?
Your response to him was, who carried the child?
Uh-huh.
My response to you is, give me back my rib.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I
I
would gladly give it back to you.
Without that
Take a
rib, we
rib.
don't exist.
Yeah.
took your sperm.
Based on the story. I know, right? I know. Yeah. So yeah.
But see, like this is the thing, though. You have, for instance, like you'll have that stigma we're talking about, whether it's taking out the trash.
Mhm.
Okay, hey, you got to pay the bills, right?
Mhm.
Oh no, you have to do more, and this, that, and the third. And it's like, whoa. I mean, but women always talking about having, that equality way of, or how may I say it? Let's come to a 50-50 thing. But in society, let's be honest, it's never gonna be 50-50 when it comes to, being equal. It's never gonna be that way.
Mhm.
It's because everybody, okay, just let's take a step further. Monday, you can, you can attest to this. You look at women now. If anybody here has a son, everybody here has a son. I'm pretty sure, Monday, you have one. Think about this. I guarantee you're teaching your boy right now the quality of a woman that he should have.
Yeah, but I was my younger brother.
Because nowadays you have the girls nowadays, the number one thing they worry about is looking pretty. Oh, I have to do this for the gram. Right? They're not the type to want to work. I mean, no disrespect to women, but we're talking about this right now. Society is so fixed on, especially women like you two women. They're like, right now, to be honest, women like you two are like,
You in between.
they're last of a dying breed, to be honest.
I'm trying to tell you. Yeah.
They're last of a dying breed, man, because it's hard to find a woman like you two. To be honest, I mean, let's just keep it a buck. Because
And
women
now
like
the
that,
dynamic
I mean,
different.
yeah, and you know what's so crazy? I tell my guys that I'm like, man, women like you two, and I'm pretty sure there's more women out there, but it's so hard to find a woman that wants to invest in you, that wants the best for you. Because nowadays it's just a, hey, what can you do for me?
Yeah.
Okay, hey, I think the grass needs to be cut. Well, damn, if you see me tired from work, I'm not feeling too good. I'm not, feeling like I want to go outside in the hot sun to cut the grass. Why don't you do it?
How dare you?
You see what I'm saying?
That's the answer you're gonna get. It's funny because I was talking to my cousin yesterday, and he was trying to ask me. He was like, "Dad, I want to talk to you about this thing. This woman here, you know, I like her and all, but she's got, I don't want to bring too much of his business, but he was like, he wouldn't have mind being with her, but she don't have nothing to offer." She was like, he said, she's cute, but she comes with baggages. And then when I called her and asked her, hey, why don't you come over and let's just hang out? And you could, cook a meal. We could just kind of hang out.
Right.
He was like, no, I don't want to do that. And he's like, well, what? What's the problem? And as soon as he said he was going to give her some money to buy her a gift for an apartment she just got, that lady never stopped calling. Now he's not answering her call. I'm like, that's not okay.
But guess,
You're too old for that. And plus, she's got a 26-year-old daughter. That's like her baggage. Like, she said, oh, me and my daughter. I'm like, well, let her stay with her daughter. Because that's a problem. You got a 26-year-old that she's not doing anything, and you're my daughter. No booby.
Monty, I need you to respond to that, bro. You
Stay
got
with your daughter. That's what I told my
to
cousin.
respond
That's
to
the
this,
trouble.
bro. It's a tough thing though, man. Like, listen, this subject right now is not easy. Like, to be honest, I know we've talked, we've discussed a lot of things on this show, but this here is a nail biter, man. Because it's so engraved into in society nowadays where you got the man is just like I'm pretty sure everybody here grew up in those old school cartoons like Animaniacs when the cartoon's in love with that one character and they got hard eyes and they're like floating in the air behind. Yeah, there you go. It's coming to life now and it's crazy. The girl character is so pretty. She doesn't have to lift a thing, and all he's doing is, hey, you want this, you want that, you want this, and it's like, whoa, slow it down there, cowboy. It's like, man.
And that's what he said. It's sad because that's what he said. He was talking about how she thinks because she's cute, talks about how it's like a coolie girl, right? She's coolie looking. Y'all know what coolie mean, right? She's coolie looking. So he's like, don't nobody care about this. I'm like, well, then why are you asking me? You already got your answer. If all she's talking about is her physical,
that's what she brings to the table. That's what she brings to the cookout.
Right. And then if you go any place with this woman, you're setting yourself up for a lot of problems.
Embarrassment.
And that was one of the things he said. He was like, damn, if I have a problem, can she even stand up for me? I said,
and I think that's the problem sometimes with men, because they want this, woman to look a certain way so they can, take her out and show off. But then they also know that these type of women are not gonna be the one that's going to cook for you because her nails gotta be perfect, her hair has to be perfect, and she's going to be taking little shoot all day, all night and put it on social media. So if you choose a woman like that I think men need to know what they want, because these women are out there and they're telling you, you're gonna have to spend money on me to have me.
There you go.
So then if you are not that kind of man, if you want someone to have a healthy relationship with, then you have to be aware of what type of companion you're looking for.
Let me just say this, because I'm always the devil's advocate, coach. There's nothing, we have a lot of women that look great. And they know they can come in the kitchen and kill it. And they still do what they need to do. So we're not bashing just because you look good, you like to look good, you know, you're attractive, that you are a gold digger, so to speak, or you don't have nothing else to offer. That's not what we're saying.
No.
You can look good and still be that type of woman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it is sad because that's what we're selling. We're so selling the physical aspect.
Yes.
Of this is who I am, because you're having women that don't even have a nice car, but they're paying $30,000, $25,000 to get their body done. Again, that's a personal choice.
That's another part.
That's a whole different ballgame. That's a personal choice. But because that's what a lot of y'all men want to see.
But see, it's so crazy because I miss the days that you would see a woman literally. It's crazy. Like sometimes I'll unwind and I'll be home and I'll put on an old school movie. One of the movies that I like to watch is like movies like The Wood, where you see a woman literally either she going to school or going to work and she's tired from working and she comes home and you'll see her. I'm not saying that all women should do that, but she comes home, she puts her purse or whatever down and gets to the kitchen and cooks, and then she just unwinds and just relax. You see the kids doing whatever, the husband come home from work, he eats, and then they're in bed relaxing. I miss those days. Nowadays, it's like, man, what we gonna do? What you gonna order? You gonna do, get an Uber or Uber Eats? It's like, damn, bro, I miss the old days where it was just, I feel like everybody was equal back then. It called me crazy, but I felt like back then it was more equal. Everybody wasn't so egotistic to, no, you go do this, no, you go do that.
See,
That's why they were better.
It's interesting. It's interesting. I hear my brother say that, and I get all of a sudden, I had all these flashbacks, right? And I feel 100% different than the way you feel. Because for me, I look at my mom, for example, and how she managed to raise 3 boys, go to work, come home, have to stand up and cook and do all that. And over the years, it catch up to her, right?
Mm-hmm.
It comes with a price, that type of lifestyle that we're talking about here. As noble as it is, it comes with a price, right? And so we live in a society now where we have the ability that we can eliminate some of those things so that a woman can live longer, can have a better life. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily say that. By the way, I'm not saying I don't want my wife to cook at all. She loves to cook. I love to eat. So we have that understanding, right? We understand each other.
Right.
But I
think it's more
never
quality of the
want her
life.
to feel that burden that she has to.
No, the cooking.
That she has to do this every day over and over again. If she gets up and she, that day she doesn't want to do it, she doesn't have to do it, right? You either step up to the plate as a man, or you order out, or you take care of her, you take her out for a change. You know what I mean? Is again one of the things that I talked about earlier. Is really pay attention to the dynamic of your family. As a man, you need to pay attention. You need to kind of see in between the lines, seeing what's happening in your household, and say, okay, can I allow this to continue for 10, 20, 30 years this way?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, we've learned, it's like learning from your mistakes, like I don't want to call it mistakes, but you want to give your partner a better quality of life, right?
Correct.
So there's nothing wrong, because if I enjoy cooking and sometimes I feel like cooking.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't. And it's
Mhm.
okay. You know what I mean? I don't think we want to create a relationship where you're going to make me feel like if I don't cook or if I don't do this, I'm not a woman and I'm not.
No, no, no,
That's not what we're saying. I don't think that's what you meant, Manny. And
no.
that's why I'm saying that at the end of the day,
The cooking
my
aspect,
man doesn't
that's
feel
not
like,
what I meant.
yeah, if my man doesn't feel like doing something, I'm not going to be like, well, damn, who you want me to do it? Like, so I think there's an understanding, there has to be a balance. And again, that's where respect comes in. So I think we need to understand, just because I'm a woman, don't just sit back and allow me to be the slave, so to speak. I hate to use that word, but you're gonna sit here and you can't lift a finger. We don't want that. We don't want those to come back.
Yeah,
We don't want to be in that environment.
yes.
No,
We want to have respect. We want to have fun. Like there's nothing wrong coming next to me and cooking and having fun and making it fun. So we need, we've grown. We've
that's
learned.
that's what I was alluding to, because
Right.
it's not the slave mentality where she has to
Mhm,
cook every day. That
mhm.
I wasn't implying that. I was simply just stating that I miss those kind of feelings where you see a man come home and he greets his wife, and they're having a simple conversation, whether he's in the living room watching a game, or with the kids or whatnot, and he's back and forth in the kitchen and in the living room. You're having that bonding time. And nowadays it's just like some girls, oh, I don't know how to cook, not even breakfast. Like, dang. Like, no. It's like, whoa, what are we doing, guys? Even for the
Take
guys
them
too,
back.
like
Take
for
them
me.
back. Take them back. Take them back. Return to senders. Return to senders. Put a stamp on her.
No.
Return
Boy,
to sender.
oh yeah, return to sender. Hey, matter of fact, put certified return to sender.
Perfect. I love it. I love it. You know what? I think there should really be something like that. At what point do you return to sender? I think we should.
When do we return men to sender, Maggie? When do we return men to sender?
Well, I mean, we should return. I mean, I don't think it should be a gender thing. I think
Yeah.
it should be, if you do not meet the criteria, then return to sender. But then in that case, we would need to sit down and find out what the criteria are supposed to be.
But
Right.
One of us
But the
is
truth of the matter is, if you wait till after marriage to find out she does not meet the criteria, you messed up. You didn't
in
vet
big
properly.
trouble.
Because what your job is while you are dating is to vet properly, so that you do marry the woman that you love who fit the criteria.
There you go.
And
And
that's
I
what,
feel like even
Right.
being friends with that person too, you guys have to have that friendship. If there's just lust, that means you guys are just getting it in, and then you guys get married. You guys didn't do anything to build any kind of foundation. There has to be some type of friendship where you guys can have those uncomfortable conversations, not just lust. I mean,
Manny
we all do
adjusted.
it.
Sorry, go ahead, Manny, finish up, sorry.
Yeah, we all do it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. We all do it. We all, grown-ups, but let's be honest, guys. I mean, how long can lust last?
That's a problem.
E ba tout sos po aki bon, no?
Hey,
Some of them will really mess up your stuff, your digestive system. Like I said, men should be returned if they can cook too. You know
E
what?
ba tout sos po aki bon.
that's a Belgian people too, no?
Cricket says Monday is on point as always.
Belgian no problem. Return to sender.
You know, they should be. People do try to return to sender. I guess that happened with the divorce. That's a way of saying I'm returning you back. But I think the problem is, are we honest with ourselves enough to say why you're returning to sender? And I think that makes a big difference. I think if you're returning to sender, you have to have the conversation. First of all, you have to understand why you're doing it and then tell the other person. But if you can get in that space, you can avoid returning to sender, like Mandy just mentioned earlier, by having, or was it Manny that mentioned that, by talking about the requirements in this relationship. because if you take some time to ask the right questions, I guarantee you, you will make a decision whether this person is the right one for you. See? Because often we just go by what we think society wants us to do. Is he cute enough? Is his car expensive enough? Is he wearing those sexy clothes? Does that suit cost 500? I know, right? The chest, right? I mean, we go by what society asks us to do versus what we believe is the right thing for us to do so we can have the lasting relationship that we want. So if we don't ask the right questions from the very get-go, and one thing that I do want to mention as we are in this subject, for you to ask the right questions, you have to have that friendship. Because you cannot fall in love with someone and say, well, I'm in love with you, but we're not friends. And I've heard that before.
That's
right?
tough.
How many of you heard that before? You're in love with this person, but he's not your, or she's not your friend.
Can I say something real quick? I know we're at the end of the show. Again, yesterday there was this Haitian comedian. Listen to him. He said he has, I don't know, I can't remember his name, but if you guys can find it, he's a guy. He's a Haitian comedian. He said, I have to say it in Creole. Malè à nous même qui pense que nous wal zami madame nous avec girlfriend nous. They will turn so quickly, not being your friend. They're gonna become your wife so quickly. Later they'll do something and they'll be like, wait a minute, I thought you told me this 5 years ago. This is what you were doing. They say, I'll like after their friendship. There's no friendship. Who's about them world about them way? Who's their girlfriend? Who's their girlfriend? They say, I have never met anybody like that because they will remember the minute you say something different from what you said before.
Oh yeah.
Hey, my late dad used to say women are like elephants, they don't forget.
We don't.
Especially if they already had a suspicion.
Oh yeah.
And listen, my dad said it, and it's so crazy. When he used to say it, and I asked my mom, this was like years ago. I asked, hey, why he used to say, because I forgot how to say elephant in Creole, but mom said, you know what an elephant is? I'm like, yeah. She goes, that's what he used to say. He said, an elephant doesn't forget. Well, that's how women are. I'm like, whoa.
Because we're smart.
Yeah.
But it's true though. It's true. But I think honestly, the reason I'm laughing is because I did it a few days ago with him. And I was like, oh, I remember, because we're friends. We talk a lot of crap. And then he was like, yeah. I said, oh, did you
do that just to throw him off?
And then he was, wait, this, I was like,
okay, all right, got you. I really think a friendship before falling in love is really the way to start a relationship. I think another reason why friendship is so important is that when you have a problem, you tend to call your best friend. And if your best friend is your lover or your partner or your wife, that's a double whammy right there.
Unless she's the problem.
Unless he's the problem. Or it could be she's the problem. But the things that you will know if you want that person to be your best friend from the get-go. Because if you spend some time to get to know this person, you will, in the beginning of the relationship, you'll know. So before we leave tonight, I think that's one thing we do need to acknowledge. If you are looking for, someone who is compatible to you, if, to answer the question, okay, men and women are equal. I think if you become friend with someone, you will know who they are first.
Right.
Because your friends don't lie to you. Your friends are there for you. Your friends trust you, and you trust your friends. So if you can build that, let me tell you, your relationship will be not to say there's not going to be any problem in relationships, because right, Monzi, we know regardless of the relationship, parents, get mad at each other. I mean, at their kids. Even you get mad at yourself, for crying out sake. So that doesn't mean just because you're best friend with someone that the relationship's gonna be perfect. But what it means is that you know that you would always have someone on your side, regardless of what you're going through.
Yep, I agree.
To leave tonight. I know everybody needs to go to bed. And I do appreciate, I know more people are coming in right now. Unfortunately, the show ends at 10. Next time, please join us earlier. We start at 9 every Wednesday night.
And for those of you who are in Miami, I'm sorry, but tomorrow is not going to be a good day because you're going to have a basketball game that's going to make you cry. I'm just saying.
What are we doing? What are we going to do with Monday? What are we going to do with Monday?
Yo, you wildin', bro. Hey, they said Miami would lose to the Bucks. They won.
Well, we have Philly and Miami in the house, so you guys gonna have to take this.
Let me tell you, I mean, I know Denver will probably end up beating Miami. This is gonna be a bad.
They'll probably beat us in 6 or 5. I mean,
I hope so, because I want to watch this game. I want to watch them.
5 games.
I don't want it to be 3. I don't want it to be 4.
They're gonna play 5 games.
I just don't want to end up like the Lakers, man.
Please. I'm trying to.
Hey, no disrespect to the Lakers. I'm gonna tell you one thing that messed them up. AD did not come with it.
I was shocked.
This
was
so
doing everything himself at 38.
I'm sorry, Maggie.
39.
Go back to the show.
That's fine. That's
He can
fine.
retire now. He can retire.
That's why I love the OMD team, because we can go from one topic tonight.
Oh, we got Ernest in the house, man. Okay.
Let me tell you. Oh, here
Ernest is the
is yeah,
Clippers fan.
Pascal.
Any advice for the Clippers?
Pascal say 4-0.
Clippers.
Money, what you got advice
What are you
for
talking
him?
about?
He loves
Denver.
Westbrook. What advice you have for him for Westbrook?
Retired.
That's what I just said. They need to retire.
Oh my gosh, you guys are terrible.
Westbrook.
You guys are terrible.
They need to retire.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's so funny because as we started this topic, talking about
Equality.
how different men are. We went from sexuality, we went from, choosing, different partners. We went from, acceptance in the home, acceptance in society. And then we went into relationship. In one topic, tonight we really did. I mean, I have never seen a topic that went all over the place, but
Yeah,
it can.
It can. That's why I said this topic is not, you have to take it serious, because I mean, it can swing left or right.
Yeah. And so I do want to acknowledge everyone who's here with us tonight. Florette, thank you. #OMD. I see it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lisbeth. #OMD. Margaret, I'm sorry, I always say Margaret twice. So yes, hashtag everyone. I appreciate you guys. Vanya, it's so nice to see you. I hope you're still with us. And everyone else who took time from your busy schedule, I appreciate you. Thank you again for sharing. If this, show tonight did anything to you and you want to share it with other people, please do that, because that's how we educate the community. These topics you will not find another place here on social media that talk about these things. We're real. And in the beginning, we always tell you guys that we go from 0 to 100. It's because we are real. We say it the way it is. So I hope tonight we were able to give you guys something that you can go back and think about and ask yourself that question: how different are you from your partner? And what is it that you guys can do to make the relationship better? I love you guys. I appreciate you. And my team, you guys want to say anything as we're getting ready to say goodnight?
OMD.
Good night.
And don't forget about December is going down.